Welcome, everyone. You're listening to the ImPerfect Podcast. I'm Kathy.
And I'm Kennedy. Join us on this week's episode as we discuss intriguing topics and people of interest that will inspire us to explore all of the unique pieces of ourselves.
We are all imperfectly perfect.
We're glad you're here.
Hello, and welcome back to our next episode of the ImPerfect Podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about two terms that you may or may not have heard before. The first one is called Misophonia, and the second one is ASMR, which stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. All of our sources today have come from digitalscholarships.unlv.ed, webmd.com, and newsmedical.net.
Yeah, so maybe you want to start on the misophonia, because before today I had no idea what it was, but can totally relate.
So what misophonia is, actually it's been linked to OCD, you'll be glad to know.
Oh, glad or not surprised?
Not surprised. So misophonia is actually a neurological disorder that exhibits a decreased tolerance to specific sounds and things relating to them. And it can cause people to experience an atypical negative emotional response in the form of strong emotions like perhaps anger or frustration in response to specific sounds like chewing or breathing.
Or chewing strawberries. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you might have mentioned that before.
Maybe.
Yeah, so I'm sure we've all met or know somebody that, these little noises really annoy them. Things like smacking gum or scraping the fork across your teeth. Now, for me, I'm not super sensitive to that sort of thing, but Kennedy, maybe you want to talk on this.
I don't know. I can talk about it for sure, but I think you're in a little bit of denial maybe. But anyway, yeah, for me, and it's you said the word small noises. I don't want to limit it to just small noises, because I think the main factor in this, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that there's a noise or multiple noises that happen and it creates this strong emotional reaction with anger or frustration. So I can deeply relate to I think specifically of, so my boyfriend just happens to love
You're
heavy.
always outing him.
Well, he's also my bestie, so like it's one of those things where I don't know how else to relate other than my home life, right? So he just happens to love heavy metal. And when I say heavy metal, some people might think, oh, Metallica. No. When I say heavy metal, I mean heavy metal, like screaming, don't know what they're saying. So for him, that is soothing.
Right.
For me, and like that's how he keeps his wits about him, ironically. So when we're doing the dishes, he's like, let's listen to some music. And it's always like a fight, because I'm like, what kind of music? Because for me, when his music is playing, it's just an immediate like it's almost like I grit my teeth. Like it's like I go in this like response of, but there's some music that we can agree on. But if there's certain music he wants to listen to, and we've now realized that we compromise, if you can even call it a compromise, he'll listen to it with headphones and he'll put one in so he can still talk, but he can still hear his music. But it's stuff like that. But also, like I've mentioned, yes, in past episodes, the chewing strawberries. And I'm not the only one. My sister has brought it up before. Mom's like, what? Why strawberries?
She's just following your lead. But now that you're talking about it, yeah, there's some people that feel the need to chew soft substances, right? Which
my boyfriend does that too.
so then you hear the teeth, and I can relate to that. And then as you were talking, I thought, yeah, I'm reading through the list, like the examples, and I'm thinking, is there some of that bugs me? Yeah, if it's repetitive. Like,
I have an example for you, and it will make it all clear on if
I
you
know exactly what you're gonna say.
what
Um,
the
the
little
old,
thing on the table.
the old, yes. Well, the old coffee table, we had a friend that used to come over, and there was like handles on this large
Metal handles,
square,
yeah.
yeah, coffee table that we had, and they'd always like flick it with their foot, and that drove me like, and to the point of that people would do it, and then they'd be looking, in my
Is
direction from
Kathy gonna react? Yeah. No.
right. So that, yes, definitely. Or kids when they like scuff their feet or bang, like if they're sitting in a booth in a restaurant and they're kicking and their feet are hitting repeatedly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that
the scuffing of the boots for you is a big thing. I remember I used to drag my feet and be like, pick your feet up. Are
my
your boots
dad
too big?
and my dad did that to me. So it's
That's funny.
generational, right? So
Yeah. And like, it's also just like, I don't even know how to go with this. I wonder if it's related to the fact that I know I'm not the only one because I've talked to you about it, and I've talked to my boyfriend about it and a couple of my friends, and it's been a thing on Facebook before, like it's almost like a meme or something about having to turn your music down when you're parking your car.
yeah. I don't think it's related, but definitely you have to
It
like
must be like
fix your
a
mental
an
capacity.
extended family sister to misophonia because
Yeah, I think this is more like water bottle, like crinkly water bottles,
sure.
clicky pens, things rattling, like change in your pocket. There's some people that make these noises when they themselves are uncomfortable. One that comes to mind is whistling. I never
Mm,
really anybody that was around me and would whistle just like to fill space as opposed to talking or staying still. That was almost like a high alert for me. Is am I in danger here? And you
that's
know,
weird.
click, yeah, right. Like, but I'm not sure why that came up for me, but things like people who feel the need to at the bottom of the glass or click the pen repeatedly. Sometimes it's fun if you're the one doing it, but on the
Oh,
other end.
absolutely. When it's somebody else trying to irritate you, it works pretty good, doesn't it?
So let's look at the other now. It's referred to as ASMR. So autonomous sensory meridian response. And that's a sensory phenomena which occurs in response to a specific triggering audio or visual stimuli.
So did you
Uh,
know about ASMR before I pointed it out to you, like on
I
TikTok?
think you were, I don't know if I might have seen or heard a couple things that just like, again, it's TikTok, right? So I'm like, oh, there's another weird thing that
Right.
doesn't make sense to me. And then you spoke of it. And then your sister being here on her phone, I would hear things roll up and I'm like, oh, is that another whatever? But actually, this is one that I can relate to as well. There's certain stuff that is like attractive to me in this regard. So do you want to explain what it is?
Yeah, so it basically induces a state of relaxation, positive feelings, or like a tingling sensation that spreads from head to the rest of the body. So this can be someone who's talking softly or moving slowly, tapping or typing.
Talked like this.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not coming through very well, but I've seen people, and it might not pick up on this, but it's like a
Yeah, I don't hear that on my side. This is an
we don't
epic
have the mics
fail.
for it.
So for
Uh,
example, how about this? So
yeah. So like opening a bottle or like the with pop or whatever. So it's
yeah.
those sorts of sounds.
Or
So
wait, I have some other props here I'd like to.
oh
Okay,
gosh.
what is this? So just the crinkle effect, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what is that? Why do people find that
And it's
exciting?
super strange. So, okay, for people who still have like no idea what we're getting at here, there are people who go online and from my generation perspective, and probably my sisters as well, there's several videos. It's kind of like it gives you some sort of satisfaction to watch them. So there's these people that go online, and a lot of times it's live, and they'll have these certain mics. We obviously do not have the equipment for that. It's not picking it up well, but it's a mic that is super sensitive, and they'll get up and they'll click their nails on it, and they'll go or whatever, or they'll you'll hear that they'll be, I've seen like swashing spit in their mouth. Like it's all this different stuff, but people find it soothing and relaxing to the point that there are some people out there making some serious money making sounds on the internet.
That's so weird. But yet, like I said, I can kind of like some of the other examples would be like humming or chewing gum. So this is the opposite side of the coin, right? 'Cause people enjoy this type of chewing.
Right.
Also, it can be not just noise, like it can be light patterns or slowly turning a page.
Mm.
Or again, more noises, scratching, crunching, squishing, or again with the visuals, watching somebody put their makeup on or brush their hair. And what a bunch of time wasting, really.
Right.
Because
But it's
I'm
like,
listing this stuff, but like the visuals, to me, the only thing that I might get wrapped up in there would be like if it was Dr. Pimple Popper.
I was actually going to save this till after, but I wrote myself a note because I wanted to bring it up. So I've talked to my aunt before about this. And so there's multiple things like, um, you brought up the Dr. Pimple Popper, but there's also like people who cut soaps. So they'll cut them in cubes, like, when you cut a cucumber in like thirds or quarters, and then you slice it so it comes off in quarters all in one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they'll do that with soap, and then they'll just like slide it off, and it'll all like tumble and make all these noises as it falls. And I was talking to my aunt about this, and she said for her, now I don't know if we're getting slightly off track, but it's comparable in this like satisfaction kind of thing. She says that she really likes to watch people who mop their floors. So it can be absolutely filthy, and it's like this satisfaction of seeing it be clean in this pattern or
Vacuum
whatever.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But
Yeah.
to the sounds specifically, like there's people must be like, what the heck are these two people talking about?
And
It's a thing.
what is it really about though? Is it the hyper focus, like that that's the only thing that you're focused on?
I don't
What it
know.
is?
I
Because
can't relate except for like the soap cutting thing, like that's a thing for me, or making like if someone was to pop a balloon, heck no, like that's a no from me. So there might be different
yeah,
levels.
but I mean it's definitely a thing, right? Because there's like more than 13 million ASMR videos online.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real psychological experience, and there's like oxytocin that releases in the brain, and it's all getting involved. Like it's a legit thing.
Yeah. So I guess anything that we have found in that regard in looking toward why it would be a thing is it stimulates the reward system in the brain, and it also links it to things like social behavior and empathy. Strangely, somehow it's
That's
wired.
so weird.
Yeah, and suggesting that this kind of stimulation activates the same brain regions linked with social bonding and how people feel certain like emotions during music, or sometimes you get tingles or that sort of thing.
That's so weird because like I'm just picturing the standard of what I have in this little box I'm imagining of on TikTok, these lives of, and it tends to be a lot of girls that are doing it. So I don't know if it's just an untapped market for guys, but it's just they get right up into the mic and they're just making noises and they say thank you for the donation, and like it's just this all the time,
Are
and
they
they're
fully
making,
clothed while doing this?
yes, they're just sitting there, and a lot of it, like they'll grab bubble wrap and they'll start like popping the bubble wrap. And I don't know if it's, you said the word bonding. like social bonding. I'm wondering if that goes like scientifically way back when there was no necessarily like language, I guess, that we communicated with sounds. Like, is that, I don't know, is there something there? Like,
I can't
I
even
can't,
make noise. Trying to hit it with my mouth, but yeah.
yeah.
No, I didn't mean in that regard, but I
No,
was
I know.
thinking the bop noise, right? With your
Yeah.
um yeah, but the thing is, it says not everyone experiences ASMR.
So
So
weird.
people who have higher levels of anxiety and neuroticisms are most likely to benefit from the ASMR reels to watch them. I don't know why, but it keys off different things in their brain, I guess. Then
Okay, so it's most beneficial, but are these the people who are most resistant to it, maybe?
I
I
don't know.
wonder.
I think I feel like maybe it has something to do with my earlier question in regards to, is it because of hyper focus,
Hmm.
right? Because if you look at people with high levels of anxiety or people that are a little bit neurotic, there is a lot of hyper focus there. So maybe in some,
There's not hyper focus, but there is. Like it's your brain's in multiple
yeah,
spots. So like you're saying, it's like this, I can focus on this one thing and be
it's,
hyper fixated on it.
I feel like maybe it has something to do with relaxing all the other craziness that's going on in your mind because you're hyper focused on this one thing. And
Hmm.
that's all your brain is focused on. So it kind of gives you a break in the other areas. That's just speculation. I have no idea really. Like
Yeah, no.
I didn't make it up, but that's what came to mind when you said it.
And consumers report relaxation, calm, sleepiness, pain reduction, like what the heck, and increased well-being. So these are studies that were published in 2015 and 2018, and it showed that people experiencing ASMR had actually reduced heart rates. And it's been backed by studies during those years, and the reduction in the heart rate results comparable to other relaxation methods such as relief with symptoms of stress and reduced levels of chronic pain. Like, that is surprising, like it has that much of an effect. Maybe
So
it's
it's
the
legit.
yeah, but maybe it's the frequency of sounds that are helping.
I never even thought of that, and I work with
Yeah.
frequency, so it's just kind of interesting. But I still think I still feel that the answer would be, in just from my perspective, it would be more about the focus. But who knows?
Who really knows? I mean, if it works, it works. Don't question it. But it just doesn't logically make sense. And yeah, and the current research is being done hoping to link ASMR's possible therapeutic potential with insomnia, depression, or anxiety symptoms.
Yeah. So it's interesting that the two things that we talked about today, the misophonia and the ASMR, are,
Whatever the other one's called, yeah.
that other thing, um, are completely opposite. And that's why, like, originally when we started to talk about this particular episode, it was just initially going to be on the ASMR.
Mm.
But then it's like, wait a second, there's a flip side to that. People that don't like that so present noise or visual. There's some people that really bothers, like you with the chewing or what
But
have you.
here's the thing too, I guess it's not so much, okay, so there's certain noises that kind of like it's nails on a chalkboard kind of thing for me, but like the examples of the ASMR videos, it's not that I cringe over them, I don't understand them. I don't understand how someone can sit there and watch for like an hour, somebody just making clickety noise in the mic, or, popping bubble wrap up close, or, and we've talked about different levels of ASMR, how there's different things, but that's straight where my head goes.
It
And
could
it's
be kind of hypnotizing in a certain sort of way. That
maybe, I mean, but I can look at it and I'll look at it for like 30 seconds and be like, okay, yeah, this person's making a lot of money making sounds in a mic, moving on. And like for me, it's just like, I don't know, it doesn't draw me in per se, but it doesn't irritate me either. So I don't know.
And with the other, the misophonia or whatever that you seem to have more to say about, do you think that that could be that they're like triggers almost? Like,
It could be.
let's say, for example, me chewing the strawberry, the horrible crime of chewing the strawberry and the seeds that she hears me chewing.
It's every last little seed. You can just hear
Okay, so
crunching them.
am I supposed to swallow it whole? What?
Well, no, but I don't know what it is with your teeth, but nobody
Oh,
else
just
is.
my teeth.
Yeah.
So, okay, so the point I'm making here is, was there a time in the past, of course you don't know the answer to this, but could there have possibly been a time in the past when you were otherwise annoyed at me and I sat down to eat my crunchy seed strawberries and somehow your brain linked that? Is
It's
that possible?
it's very likely. I mean, I'm not saying like that I know a specific, but it's the only way to really make sense of it, I guess, because it's not just like oh, I can hear her chewing the seeds. It's like holy shoot, could you just like,
Yeah.
your mouth is closed, but could you close your mouth again? Because like it's really loud.
Do you have another mouth you could close?
Right.
No, well, for me, the thing that we set up at the coffee table, that was just like kind of an annoyance that turned into a joke or whatever.
Mm.
And the same with the other. There's very few things actually that, I guess maybe some of that comes with having kids and you become tolerant to, annoyances, but yeah.
But you're probably right. There's a lot of things, and we've talked about a little bit about differences and different things that the brain and the body connect to things that it just didn't make sense. So there's probably something there, you're right, that has triggered some form of emotional response. And I'm not consciously aware of what started that, but maybe there was something in the past.
It's interesting. I guess that's the point of this whole particular show is, here's a couple things that are sort of on the front lines, new things, newly labeled things, whatever. But just the differences in between you and I. And, we're so close, we're family, of course, and we share genetics, but we're also very close as mother and daughter.
Yeah.
And
But so different in so many different ways as well. Like
right.
you don't have an issue when I eat strawberries, although maybe you will now because we talked about it. It's like a jab in the
make
side.
a point of it. Yeah.
Right.
So that's the point of the whole show is, again, we're all different. We're all the same, we're all different. And these are two really different logical situations.
Yeah, and mom had brought that up to me a while ago. She's like, we should do an episode on ASMR. And we didn't know that there was the flip side because she had brought up to me at the time about the strawberries. And I was like, absolutely, we could talk about that. But it is very interesting to see the comparison of the two. And like you said, I'm your daughter, and yet there's certain things that really irritate me, and there's certain things that really irritate you. And sometimes we meet in the middle on certain things, but everybody is different. You couldn't have said it any better. And there's so many different things that maybe don't make sense to me, but make sense to somebody else out there. I mean, these people doing ASMR online are making money from someone, but I, let alone, can't be bothered to click on the video. And there's someone out there spending enough time to pay them to do it.
Right.
So, yeah.
So thanks for tuning in today and listening to our weird and wonderful exploration of whatever that first thing was called.
Misophonia. Yeah.
Misophonia and ASMR. So
yeah, we will see you next Monday.
Bye.
If you or someone you know has a unique story to tell, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at theimperfectpodcast@outlook.com.
For more information and how to connect with us on social media, you can visit us at our website, theimperfectpodcast.ca.
And from whichever platform you are listening to this episode, be sure to like, share, and leave us a review. We would really appreciate your feedback. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode.
We look forward to hearing your feedback and seeing you all find that extra joy and embrace your own imperfect.
See you next week.